Welcome to The Pull Bag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag, ladies and gentlemen. This is year 3 of The Pull Bag, and we're doing something a little different. We're adding a little bit of flavor to The Pull Bag. We're not going to do these types of episodes too often, but considering it's the 25th anniversary, or it will be in a month from now, this episode will go up February 4th, 2015, and on March 30th, 1990, it's not just a cartoon anymore, folks. They were lean, mean, and green on the screen. And I'm doing that completely from memory off the poster.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even looking at the image of the poster. I just know it, ladies and gentlemen. So we are calling this The Pull Bag's Comictaries. It's basically a film commentary, but I wanted to kind of tie it into the whole fact that this is a comic podcast. I am, of course, TFG1Mike. Joining me is Mr. Joe Reed. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And we are here. We're going to be doing a commentary on the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle... I can't back today. 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. So I was 10 when this movie came out, and I actually remember, and I believe I've said this in the 5.5, 6 years that I've been on the network here. When I was younger, I would always go out, when I knew a movie was coming out, from seeing a trailer on TV or from hearing about it on like Entertainment Tonight or something or other, back when Mary Hart still had legs and John Tesh wasn't having some failed singing career. I would always go out to the bookstore, whether it would be Walden Books or whatever other, pretty much where I lived, it was pretty much Walden Books is where we got our books.
Back when they had bookstores in the mall.
Yeah, exactly. And I would look for movie novelizations.
Crazy.
I know, right? What these are, kids who don't know today, it's basically novels that basically tell you what the movie is. It basically has pretty much, I don't know if it's a loose version of a script or something, or I'm not too sure how they get the movie novelizations out of the film before the film even gets released. But hey, maybe that's something somebody can tell us, comment on the post once this goes up on geekcastradio.com. Or they can email us. You just set up a new Turtle Guy email.
Yeah, I'm going to invite some listener feedback, not user feedback, whatever that is. Some listener feedback. You can email me at joereadtheturtleguy@gmail.com with comments there, and we will likely read those on a future episode of the Pull Bag Ninja Turtles edition.
Yep, absolutely. So I don't remember anything that's in the Peter David movie novelization for this. I remember the final scene of the movie's in there with Casey and Tatsu. I remember that's in the novelization, but I don't remember anything else. Because the thing is, when I would get movie novelizations, some of them were vastly different from what is actually in the movie.
Yeah, I'm aware of one scene that changed. I guess I'll save that for when the scene occurs. It'll give us something to talk about at that point. But
right.
But as things happen, I mean, I'm sure these authors are getting the book or getting the script, 6 months to a year, and they've got to get something out. And something happens in the editing room, and it changes this or that, but it's already been sent to the publisher to print. So I bet you there are little things here and there.
Oh, absolutely. Did you see this in the theaters?
I did. This really gets back to, I think, a lot of our generation. This was partially our first real introduction to the Turtles. I had been watching the cartoon at that time. When I was 9 years old, my introduction to Turtles. 9 years old, I go over to a family friend of ours. This is a 60-year-old man, my parents' friends, and on his little end table was a Michelangelo action figure, the classic rubber head, 2 nunchucks, and he had every weapon crammed into his belt. And apparently it was like a gag gift that somebody gave him, and I didn't know what the Ninja Turtles were at the time, and I had this, and I was playing with it. This thing's great, awesome, cool. And somewhere in there we moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan in early 1990, and I started watching the cartoon, knew the cartoon, and then, my birthday is March 31st. I turned 10 years old the day after this movie launched, and I'm sure that I saw it in the theater. I don't remember going to see it at the theater because I watched it so many more times at home on VHS, on the FHE, is that for a family home entertainment?
Family home entertainment, that's what it was.
I watched that edition many, many times. Which I guess that kind of segues into my first listener feedback question. If you are listening to this podcast, please take 5 minutes and tell us your story of how you were introduced to the Ninja Turtles. Or, at the same time, tell us if you had an interesting story involving going to see this movie, the Ninja Turtles movie. How old were you? What was going on? Let us know and email that answer to Joe Reed, the Turtle Guy, at gmail.com. And if, I don't know, I'm expecting hundreds of submissions, and if yours is cool, we'll read it on the next pull bag. So there you go.
Yeah, because the next pull bag has already been planned for us, seeing as how the 4th installment of a crossover came out. So that'll be coming up next when we do the next Turtles episode, because right now we have to wait 2 months before we can continue on Attack on Technodrome.
Right. Yeah, I forgot. I'm used to being able to do these so fast.
I know, right? All right, folks. So we've talked on long enough. I absolutely love this movie as a kid. I still love it today. I can watch it all day long.
Absolutely. I put it on often when I'm just cleaning the house or running around. I'm excited for my son to be old enough to watch it. He's 4. He's getting there. He can handle things, but it might just be a little scary for him sometimes. Shredder is terrifying. Anyway.
Yes, he is. So you're going to hear a movie clip from the movie, and then you're going to want to start your Netflix, DVD, PS3, Blu-ray, whatever, after that clip. So we'll be back in a moment with the Turtles commentary.
Yes, dudes and dudettes, Major League Butt Kicking is back in town. Oh, yeah!
Alright, folks, get ready for some turtle power in 3, 2, 1, play! New line.
The only people brave enough to put this movie out. It was turned down by a bunch of studios. Disney didn't want it. They thought the fad wasn't going to last. And they started filming before New Line picked it up. They were taking a risk.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's so strange seeing stuff with the 2 towers in it now.
Man, it still looks like the 80s.
Yep.
Are we going to try not to quote the movie?
Nah, I figure everybody else does. Why not?
Notice that's a black and white TV she's on.
Mm-hmm.
I still have one of those.
A black and white TV.
I use it for hooking up old video game systems.
I can see how that'd be coming handy.
Sid Vicious.
I always wondered about this scene right here where the guy takes the wallet from Danny. Okay? The guy has the foot... okay, we don't know it's a Foot Clan member, but, watching the movie for the first time, we don't know. But now that we've seen the movie, we know. That's a guy that is probably in a Foot doji or whatever the hell the outfits are called. Uniforms, tights, whatever the hell you want to call it. So if that guy is in some sort of uniform... well, this poor lady. She's shaking her head at her soaps and wham, they're gone.
It's like almost as bad as the Wilhelm scream.
Mario's. I wonder where Luigi is. But like, look at this. You see these foot ninjas in the jumpsuits, in the black pajamas, as April puts it later. Do other people not see this? I mean, I know
Of course
those
not.
kids.
They're ninjas.
Right.
One of the few scenes here shot in location in New York. That one right there.
Yep.
There goes the man I wish was in the comic, Tatsu.
Oh, yeah. I know.
He's not a fan favorite, but he's my favorite because he's my Shinkendo instructor, and I've met the guy.
That's interesting. Like, okay, we interviewed Bobby Curnow, who is the editor for the Turtle Stuff, and he explained to us that, you know, if they don't have the rights or they don't have the permissions, they can't do it. But it would make... I would love to see them be able to work up to the fact that they're going to be able to get the rights to see how that you would incorporate him into the story, because at this point in the Turtles comic, even now with Attack on Technodrome, you don't have anywhere for Tetsu to really be, because Karai is his quote unquote granddaughter is his number 2.
I'd bring him in as he's a leader in the Foot Clan that's still over in Japan. He's one of those guys. They gave her a yellow raincoat just like the cartoon.
And it's only a raincoat, folks. I really do hate that people will bitch and complain about, oh, a yellow jumpsuit. I recently watched the cartoon again, and that yellow jumpsuit, I'm sorry, in the 87 cartoon, April looked damn hot in that thing. Oh, lights out, folks.
The interesting thing they had to do with this was, all right, the movie is generally based on the original comic series. It kind of loosely but relatively close follows the first 12 issues, but little things crept into it, like April being a reporter wearing the yellow trench coat here, the Turtles wearing the different colored headbands, but a lot of it was very much based on the original comic. And so when I saw this movie first, or when I saw this movie after watching the cartoon, I'd go into this going, wait, she works at Channel 3 News? No, she's supposed to work at Channel 6. And Splinter's a rat? He was supposed to be Hamato Yoshi getting mutated. You know, I was like really offended by these changes that they made. And it wasn't until, a couple years later that I got the comic, the original trade paperback comic of the first 3 issues, and realized, oh, he was. Okay, and it's just a different... But, so this is as close to a movie version of the first 12 issues of the comic that we'll ever get.
Yeah. I remember as a 10-year-old in probably 11 or 12, whenever this hit VHS, after its theatrical run, I remember every time that I would rent it, I would dance to this opening music. Like, literally get up while I'm watching the movie and dance to it, because it was so friggin' awesome.
And it's almost a send-up of the cartoon theme song. It's similar, kind of plays on the same notes, but very fun.
Bossa Nova, Chevy Nova. Donnie just can't get the...
So these costumes are fantastic and dropping knowledge bombs. These were all made by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. Brian Henson was the lead puppeteer for the thing. Jim signed on to it but was reluctant because of the ninja violence thing, and as they sold the project to him, he was kind of convinced it would be less violent than it was. Then it came out and it was more violent than he had hoped, and so he was actually Jim Henson was a little upset that it was so adult. But Brian Henson didn't seem to mind being on set. At least he wasn't complaining, or hasn't. I haven't read anything where he's been upset.
Right.
Here's where you take a moment to realize that Splinter is puppeteered and voiced by the same guy who did Elmo, Kevin Clash.
Yep.
This was one of his earliest one of his earlier, maybe not the earliest, one of his early jobs with the company, with Jim Henson Company. I don't think he was Elmo at this point.
He might have been. Right. Oh, wait, that was Donnie. I always thought that was Leo. Holy crap. What the hell?
Hey, blowing your mind.
No, because I'm so used to Leo and Raph fighting. I thought that was, Donnie's just, oh. I'm sorry, folks. I had to stop because of a certain scene that just popped up, and it's going to come to a full effect in a moment. No anchovies. Michelangelo. Mikey on the payphone to the pizza guy. It's just so classic. It's just so classic. I just absolutely love it. Yeah, but no, I never realized that was Donnie and Raph, not Leo and Raph. Well, this is like meditating.
I like how stoic this version of Splinter is, and he's immobile and stoic and old and ancient that way, mainly because he's a puppet that can't move around like the turtles can. But
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite versions of him. Now, see, I really want to quote the entire movie, but I know that if I do that, I won't be in sync with you at home, and I don't want to do that to you. But I really want to do it.
He sounds like a Stallone when he says that. Out to a movie. That okay with you? He sounds like friggin' Rambo.
Voiced and played by Josh Pais, P-A-I-S. Not sure how to exactly pronounce that, but he's the only turtle whose suit actor and voice actor were the same.
Yep.
Here's Corey Feldman, Donatello.
You couldn't put Corey or Robbie in the Mikey and Donnie suits because Robbie Riss does the voice of Mikey and Corey Feldman does the voice of Donnie. And I said this, oh God, a year ago. I always felt it was Leo and Raph and Donnie and Mikey. Mm-hmm. Those are if you split the four of them up, those are the teams of two. 122 and an 8.
There are a million of the best pizza restaurants on Earth in New York, but the Ninja Turtles order from Domino's. I mean, really, guys? Come on. Oh, no, I have to relax. It's product placement. But we all know that they would get their pizza from some awesome street vendor. $10 for a pizza and the tip. Oh, it was the 80s. 90s. Yep. It was filmed in the 80s, so that's what I'm going to call it. But yeah, 90s.
Tabs 13.
The Domino's guy is the suit actor for Michelangelo.
Yep. I gotta get a new route, and I thought I delivered everywhere.
Each of the suit actors has a cameo. The only one that I don't know is Leonardo. That suit actor. He's one of the foot ninjas, but I don't know when, where, if he's even out of his mask to know who he is.
Raph's just disgusted.
There's a joke there that I don't think I get. I don't know what it is.
It's critters.
Whether they're making a joke about how the turtles are that perspective right there occurs in a Ghostbusters movie too.
Yeah, it does.
I think that's Columbus Circle right there.
Mm-hmm.
Near the John Lennon entrance to Central Park. should also talk, especially this scene here, how dark the film is. You know, my little 10-year-old brain's used to the bright colors of the cartoon, and then this comes here, which is violent, grubby. I mean, and you know, it comes partly from being based off the black and white comic book where the turtles cursed and stabbed people willy-nilly.
Right.
But I think that's maybe one of the reasons that this movie, above some of the others, has held up for so long as I've grown up, is that it's very adult. You know, the whole subject matter was done with respect.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight you. Tell me you didn't pay money for this. I can't tell in which direction that joke is occurring. Is he saying that Jose Canseco's a dirtbag and that he shouldn't have given him money, or is he calling Casey Jones a thief for stealing it? You know,
I think it's more of a joke towards Jose Canseco than anything else, because I don't know what was going on in Jose's career at this point, but I don't know. Home run. Raphael wins. I very rarely remember. This is why I got to go back and watch the '87 series. I very rarely remember Raph and Casey having this good of a relationship or this interesting of a relationship in the original cartoon series.
They didn't, and that kind of was an interesting thing for me as a child too, because I think, if I'm right, Casey Jones maybe only appeared in 3 or 4 episodes, and to me he was just this maniacal, crazy, didn't take his mask off in the cartoon ever, and violent and whatnot, almost a villain, but so when he was in this movie, I was kind of surprised. Is that Donatello's suit actor in the back of the seat?
Might be, yeah.
That would have been. Damn! Oh my gosh! The Ninja Turtles said a dirty word.
He said it twice already.
I know, right? That's paying so much respect to everything with that.
This is the only part of the movie that I sometimes, not obviously now, but sometimes fast forward. Because I don't dislike it, it's so slow. And I know it's supposed to be emotional, but I view this as an action film. And it just doesn't seem like there's room in it for this lesson. But well, I understand why it's here.
It's, looking back on it now and seeing this scene, it's just really giving heart to the film. And you know, we've discussed the theme of the IDW comic, it's family. I mean, this right now we're giving this scene to an audience who mainly has only been exposed to it through the cartoon, the silly, pointless one-off episode comic, and we're getting this heavy scene. I think it's incredibly respectful and incredibly real to the source material, that they're paying so much respect to give it this weight.
Yeah.
You know, I was driving home thinking about the Turtles today. I showed up to one of my classes.
You're turtle obsessed.
Well, it's what happened. I showed up early to one of my classes where I teach, and I'm sitting there bored out of my skull, so I grab a piece of paper and I start drawing a Ninja Turtle. And on my way home, I had the drawing sitting on the seat next to me. And I'm looking, why are these things still around? It's not that they're cool. A turtle in a mask with ninja weapons is kind of a silly thing. And they were silly to invent them, but as they've grown and as other people have put their fingerprints on the Turtles, we've gotten this big theme of family out of it, and they're becoming timeless. These silly things are teaching these big lessons and demonstrating these big ideas and dressing it up in sometimes cool martial arts scenes.
Right. So we get to 11th and Bleecker, which actually does exist.
I've looked it up on Google Street Maps, Street View. It does not look anything like this.
Well, it doesn't look anything like this in the movie, but, you know, I'm sure in real life it doesn't, but it does exist.
Yeah. I do want to visit it.
The craziest thing is that in the Boy Meets World sequel series, Girl Meets World, that's currently airing on Disney Channel, they actually... Corey's townhouse or apartment house or whatever you want to call it actually is at 11th and Bleecker.
No
or
way.
they use Bleecker. I don't know if they use 11th, but they use Bleecker. Yeah. But we get the scene with Charles and April. Charles is her boss, and now we get to her interview with Chief Stearns. You're not going to get your deposit back on that screen.
Oh my god. My just favorite interpretation of Shredder.
Yeah. Get in here.
We should time her out here. I don't have a stopwatch ready.
No, no.
Judith Hoag playing April did not sign on to the sequels. Apparently there were edits and cuts to scenes that she filmed, and she wasn't exactly happy with how it turned out. It's incredible now, and I know she's come back to do meetings at conventions, but out of the two Aprils, I can't remember who played the second one.
Paige Turco.
Thank you. It was on the tip of my tongue. Either way, who's your favorite out of the two of them?
Oh, it's Judith, hands down.
Oh, yes.
Hands down. Judith is the best live-action April ever at this point. And the craziest thing is, 8 years after this movie came out, Mr. Explosion himself, Michael Bay, released Armageddon in 1998, and Judith plays Will Patton's character's ex-wife, whatever, mother of his child, whatever, and I'm like, hey, that's April O'Neil. What's she doing in a Michael Bay and Bruce Willis movie?
It gave me a reason to go watch Armageddon again.
She's only in like 2.5 scenes or 3 scenes. It's very, very short, but yeah. This movie does product placement very well. It doesn't make it cheesy. It doesn't make it cheap. Okay, sure, the Domino's thing was a little, not necessarily heavy-handed, but a little in your face. But like with April and the lines, it's like, what am I, behind on my Sony payments again? Just with those little lines, I wonder, do they write that? That's what I'd love to know from anybody.
Do they need to get permission to do that?
Right. Or does the company get paid for just having their name being said? I don't think so. But, somebody's gonna follow you.
The turtle costumes in the first movie weigh about 70 pounds. The ones that talk and move with all the animatronics and the motors and servos and batteries in their shell. Right. And when they get wet, I'm sure they absolutely soak up that water, and it's even more weight.
Can we keep her?
Wow, he sexually harassed her in this film, too. Not just the Michael Bay one.
No, he did. No, wait a second here. Wait a second. Come on now. That's not sexual
He
harassment.
basically just suggested indentured servitude, I think.
Well, I don't like.
I'm giving Mikey crap. It's
Wow, man. I think this might be the best meeting ever for these characters, because in the 87 cartoon series, basically the same thing happens. They rescue her, not obviously in the same order as this happens in the film here, but they rescue her, bring her back to the lair, throw a cold washcloth on her. She wakes up and then faints again, and Raph's like, "Come on, lady, we ain't got time for this." But this one here, it just might be the best meeting of them ever, because they both freak out. April and the turtles freak out. Why don't I ever dream of Harrison Ford? God.
I was going to say back when he was hot, but you know what? I'm sure there are women and men. Okay, me. That might. Because he's pretty cool. I'd also like to know if, let's say the Ninja Turtles are real and somebody who's never seen them, known them, gets taken down to their sewers, they wake up and they see these turtles. Would they actually go, mutant animals? Or would they wake up and go, okay, these are surely just really good animatronic costumes. Really? Let me look for the zipper. Come on, guys. I don't know how that reaction would go, 70 years ago, if they put one of these animatronic turtles walking around the city street, that'd blow people's minds.
They'd probably 70 years ago.
They'd try to shoot it. But
70 years ago, they'd probably scream, aliens!
Yeah.
It's aliens! And thankfully, that has never happened to this point. It almost happened, but thankfully it never did.
But I just wonder what the reaction would be now, given how cinema works and how we all know about how these things are done.
Right.
I love the baby turtles.
Pizza. Radical. It's me.
She has a fabulous chin cleft.
Yes, she does.
Never noticed that.
Speaking of, people sexually harassing April O'Neil, talk about the strange obsessions of April. It is such a deserted street.
Yeah, 11th and Bleecker is maybe it might have looked something like this in the 90s, early or late 80s, but nowadays it looks like a quaint little shopping district where you'd find art galleries and gluten-free restaurants. These sets were built in North Carolina, and they had to accommodate the turtles' shells. The turtles would not fit through a conventional New York sewer manhole cover.
Oh, no. Not at all. Flies, stink bugs. This right here and later when they're on the farm might be the brightest scenes. Outside of, City Hall, might be the brightest scenes with the turtles in them. Because the City Hall scene where, she was interviewing Stern, that really it counts, but it doesn't count. But, yeah. Oh,
and the colors pop in this scene, too. More so than, when her boss is there in the apartment.
Yeah.
Diet Pepsi, Kraft Parmesan cheese, Ocean Spray cranberry apple. I don't know what that green bottle is. It might be like Perrier or something.
I couldn't see it. Went by too fast. The green bottle,
I don't recognize it.
might be wine, actually. Looks like a wine bottle.
She's getting the Teenage Turtles drunk.
Uh-huh.
I think Leonardo's sword hits the wall here and bends. Let's watch for that.
Yeah,
The handle of it tweaks.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a stunt sword.
Well, yeah.
Again, this scene comes straight from the comic.
I mean, I know I kind of nitpicked the emotional scene between Raph and Splinter earlier, but I do enjoy it. I don't know, sometimes I just feel it was a little too slow when I want to see the action part of the movie. But it makes sense, especially now with this scene.
It gives Splinter more weight. There's more power to this moment.
And if you really think about it, Raph is the most emotional out of all four of them.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in this, in a lot of things. I mean, because he's someone who he's Mr. Chip on his shoulder. He's Mr. Angry. Use the anger to not, worry about your actual emotions. And when the emotions do come out of him, it is so much more powerful.
And I wonder where Rob Paulson's Raphael came from, because we have the version of him in the comic. The animated series was before the movie. Yeah. And so I wonder what the thought process on that was. And yeah, when the comic was first out, the Turtles didn't exactly have different personalities. They weren't concerned with it. They told that issue 1 story stand alone, and then all of a sudden they were popular and had to figure out what happened after that. The Turtles' personalities slowly followed. But I wonder where we really first got these kind of, not stereotypical, but the definitive turtle personalities from. Where did, I'm not even sure as a turtle aficionado.
As far as the Rob Paulson version of Raph, that would be a question for David Wise, because he was one of the main core writers on that series.
Because, I mean, they couldn't have put somebody as angry as Raphael in a cartoon in that era, and it just wouldn't have worked, not with the tone of the series or probably with the censors at that point. But we all love Rob Paulson's Raphael. He's more sarcastic than angry.
Absolutely. And his 2012 Donnie is just
so fantastic.
It's...
I thought that was going to bother me. It was less than 30 seconds before I didn't care and was just absorbed in the character.
And I know we're off track here, folks. We're still talking Turtles, but the 2012 series for Nickelodeon series, I love when Donnie freaks out. Like, he wants a different weapon. He wants a new weapon, and it's partly because one of the episodes opens up with him fighting the Krang, and they break his bow, and he's like, how am I supposed to fight advanced alien technology with a stupid stick? And just the sarcasm Donnie has in the 2012 series as Rob Paulson is voicing him. Oh, April, it's time to switch to decaf.
That her startle just seems so authentic at that moment.
Yeah. But there's another line that Donnie does. I think it's in season 2 or season. Yeah, I think it's in season 2 where he's like, I think Raph asks him, "What's going on, Donnie?" "Oh, gee, Raph, I don't know. It's a Krang Sweet 16 birthday party." He says it really sarcastic. Oh God, it's just so hilarious. So we're at the point in the movie now where Danny has just run off. We've already, he's gone. Charles Pennington, Danny Pennington went back to April's after Charles bailed his son out, and they fight, and Danny runs off. And now we're at the warehouse again. Man, I remember wanting to go to this place as a kid.
I'd have been scared to death.
Well, okay, you'd be scared to death of the giant ninja army in the back, yeah, but...
No, these kinds of kids would scare me.
Okay, then. I mean, just for the skateboarding and the video games and all that.
Cameo by Sam Rockwell, the Sam Rockwell.
Yep. Got new cigarettes? Regular or menthol?
Yeah, these are all the naughty kids.
These are all the kids that will never get the Foot Clan. You know, we'll never get into the actual black pajamas.
So Toshishiro Obata, Tatsu here, the actor who played him, he had to be dubbed. They dubbed his voice over this, and I'm not exactly sure why, because he sounds exactly like that. He sounds like a scary Japanese man. So that was kind of interesting. Here we get the deviation. Oh, maybe is it this scene? I'll tell you if it's this scene or not.
Okay.
I'm wondering if Leonardo is one of these guys in the background. Maybe it's even this guy. I thought he was Asian suit actor. Nope, not this scene. Okay.
What I want to know is who's ringing the gong?
And one of the foot lackeys.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, coming up, what we're about to see is the scene that changed everything. The introduction of a character that changed everything up to this point in the Turtles universe. Because I don't think Shredder has ever looked this badass before or since.
And his persona is different. He's keeping himself so much more mysterious and not alien, but he is above everybody else in this room. The pageantry. And he does it all in a foil tiger-striped cape. And I don't seem to mind because he's just freaking terrifying.
And just the metal. Just the helmet and the face mask. Oh, God. You know, just absolutely amazing. And the sheen off it from the light. Oh, my God.
That's a really good lighting director coming in.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
that guy walked across the room, stopped on a mark, and then the camera came down to have that reflection happen. That was planned. Yeah, you be careful, because even if those are fake metal blades, they'll hurt you.
How's your Shredder costume coming?
It's winter. I don't go outside in the winter. I don't work in the garage in the winter. I do go outside. Someday. He doesn't even want to have to pick that up. He has somebody put it in his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, and those blades are so close to that dude's ears.
Oh, I know it. I know it. It's crazy. Rejects you.
I love this speech.
Yeah. What'd they do? Spray water on his face? Because I know that's not actual tears.
I think there's supposed to be tears and sweat and other things.
It's supposed to be, but
the particular foam latex rubber that Splinter was made out of completely disintegrated when wet, and the director kept saying, more tears, more water, put it on there, really jack him up. And the puppeteers, the Jim Henson people are like, no, don't, because we'll need to make another one soon.
like he's still...
Those folds of skin under the mask. What's the mask? I see that and I know what it is. It's where the head comes over the performer's head. But when I was a kid, those are those weird turtle wrinkles that happen under there. Completely believable.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier that even in this one, he's, sexually harassing April. I always thought it was an innocent crush, like the 2014 film.
That
The
was
2014
uncomfortable.
film.
This is
Yeah.
fine and dandy. That was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Paddington, we had a deal. This looks like the most cheaply put together news studio I've ever seen.
If you go back and watch an old 80s newscast, I'm sure it would probably be very similar. I love the detail on Raphael. He has a scar under his eye that they modeled there. I love that.
Yep. Absolutely.
I don't know how they filmed that. Fight. Kitchen.
Again, the teams are pretty much set. Red and blue and orange and purple. Pork rind?
I've never eaten a pork rind before.
Never have I either, nor do I ever want to.
I shall try one someday in honor of this film.
I'm sorry, there are some things I can never do.
Oh, look at those classic water towers back there.
Oh, I know it, right?
I wonder how many of those are left, and how many of them actually do things. I don't know if that infrastructure's... I just put one of those in one of my turtle drawings. I should go look at this movie for a source image. Think of that. This is what I hope the Daredevil series looks like, this rooftop scene.
Yeah. Leave this guy. Ninja kick the damn rabbit.
There's so many scenes that I watched as a kid and didn't understand what they were saying. That's one of them, that I couldn't tell what he was saying or who he was rooting for as a child. I had to come back with grown-up ears and say, oh, he's ninja kick. Oh, he's telling the turtle to beat up the rabbit. I got it.
What did you think he said?
Couldn't tell. I couldn't tell.
Oh,
it
really?
was gibberish to me.
There's a scene coming up later that I, for the life of me, ever since I really hate to admit this on a podcast, but between the time I was 11 and the time I was 20, I still did not know the actual full line, and I thought it said what I had thought it said since I was 10. So I'll bring that up later when that scene comes up.
Eastman and Laird were actually disappointed or turned down, were slightly angry that they didn't get a writing credit for the film because it does follow the first comics so closely. Mm-hmm. One minor deviation being that Leonardo gets trashed by the foot on the rooftops, not Raph, but still the fight in the antique store happens in the books, and so it's really close and worth a read if you find IDW's reprints of those early issues in trade.
But I think this works, though.
Oh, it does. I mean, story-wise, absolutely. It's an appropriate deviation for the things that they are trying to get through. The way these scenes intercut is genius and lovely.
It really, really is. Is that in the comic too?
I don't know if that played well in black and white. he likes it.
He's not liking it now.
The piece of glass wedged in his behind, I always look at that.
Yeah. It's like April lives in a glass apartment. I mean, obviously I know there are walls and floors, and it just, all that glass breaking, just, wow. Okay, this is the scene right here. He just said, "Oh, a fellow chucker, eh?" As a 10-year-old, up until the time I was 20, I always thought it was, "Oh, a foul checker." And I was like, what the hell is a foul checker?
It's a hockey reference, surely.
Yeah.
This scene I watched in slow motion on my VHS to learn what Michelangelo was doing for all these moves, and to this day, I can whip a pair of nunchucks around just like this.
Can you do the keep practicing move?
No. I think that one is physically impossible unless you're a cartoon Ninja Turtle. In the European release of this film, they had to cut that scene because nunchucks are illegal and censors say you can't even show them in movies. So that scene was gone, and they intercut around Michelangelo's using his nunchucks for most of it.
Thank God.
They replaced it, or rather they released an unedited version sometime in the 2000s, so they've finally been able to see this fully realized.
I love the scene where Donnie has to drink the fish water. Wheel of Fortune, dude!
So there are two different sets of costumes that they were using. If their mouths are moving, it's generally the actual performers with the 70-pound suits. When they're running around doing martial arts, usually their faces are frozen, and it's a much lighter suit, about 50 pounds, and it's the Hong Kong stunt team doing the martial arts moves in it. I think Ernie Reyes Jr., who plays Kino in the second movie, is actually Donatello's martial arts performer. So,
could be.
No, I'm fairly certain it is.
Okay.
So he was already in the film before he was Kino.
Yeah. Uh-oh. No, but this movie has so many great lines. Like, we just passed up the Wheel of Fortune dude and I guess they're not game show fans. I thought everybody loved Vanna.
Yeah, Toshishiro Obata, high rank in 7 or 8 different martial arts, went through 4 or 5 different swordsmanship arts, moved to the United States in the 80s to form his own school based on all those Japanese martial arts. The guy is as much a samurai as you can find. I mean, this dude might as well have been born in the 1700s with swords strapped to his body. The man is both incredibly powerful in the room, like his energy, just like, time to be solemn and respectful and listen to everything he says, and incredibly skilled as well. I wish we'd have had an opportunity to see him do what he does. And he's been in a couple other films.
Who is the babe? I know this will never happen, but he is someone that I think would make one of the best interviews GCRN would ever get.
Elias, I don't know how to say his last name.
No, not Elias. Not Elias Codius. Toshishiro.
Oh, he's very difficult to understand in English.
Oh.
But like they had to dub his voice, but he sounds exactly like that. That's what he sounds like. He will sign autographs on copies of the movie. One seminar I went to one of the guys in my dojo brought his Ninja Turtles movie for him to sign. I didn't have the... Oh, he's such a terrifying guy. I couldn't have done that. I was like, no, too much respect. We're here for the art, not for my geekdom here. But, and yeah, so I associate him more with my swordsmanship instructor than with Tetsu from the movie anymore.
Absolutely. No, I'm just saying, I think it would make a really, really cool interview, obviously, if we could understand him. But... Gosh.
And I love that that's a Volkswagen van.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that going, that's going to be the turtle van in the sequel.
Sadly, no.
No, but that's okay, because it's like the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's your fault, Danny.
Jerk.
I know, right?
Uh-oh. He's mad. You can just tell by the way he's walking. He's going to come up and, you bitch! He's gonna...
The debate was always which hand he slapped him with. Was it the hand with the blades or not? And I think that's not the hands with the blades. It was his right hand. Blades are on the left hand.
See, I thought they were on both hands.
The long ones are only on the left in this version.
Okay.
And in fact, I have the 2003 Shredder action figure on my hand, and the blades are only on his left hand, too. They're on the forearm, but not on the hand. Yeah, you screwed up too, Tatsu. It was this scene.
That got changed?
Yep. Only slightly. Who is it? In the book, they killed the kid.
Oh, okay.
And probably in the original script, but I bet you that went to the studio and they said, wait, you just killed this teenage kid? No. And so off camera, you hear somebody say, he's going to be all right. Like, no, he just killed him out of anger. This is the organization they're working for.
Yeah.
I love this Splinter.
It's kind of sad that we only had him for 2 movies. Because the third Splinter is just... Ugh.
The first 2 movies were the Jim Henson production company. The third movie went to somebody else who underbid Jim Henson by half, and you can tell the quality drop in that. I wonder if that team did the same, did the TV series as well.
I think so, yeah.
I haven't watched 2 in probably 10 years, and I haven't watched 3 in even longer. Someday. I have them all on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I do need to watch the CG animated one. I wonder how that would hold up after reading IDW.
You mean the 2007 movie?
Yes, that's what I meant. Thank you. CG one.
Yeah, it pretty much, it's kind of in line with the then series, the 2003 series. I mean, it's that kind of thing, but it's more CG. But it's supposedly supposed to take place in that universe. It's good. It's all right. It's a little weird hearing Captain Picard as a villain, but it works. Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Dottie's like, uh-oh.
Broadzilla. In the comics, the farmhouse isn't April's; it's Casey's. It was kind of left to him in a family thing, and they escape there because it's the only place that they have. But they in the comic they go back to it. Eventually, Splinter moves up to Northampton.
Yeah,
That's Northampton, Massachusetts in the movie and in the comics, but in this is actually filmed in North Carolina. What's some of the hardest scenes to film for the turtles and the actors in the suits because it was so hot that they were really suffering in here.
yeah.
I think the hardest scene I've read was the antique store with the fire because it was so hot in that scene they could get through 2 takes before they had to cut it and let them rest. They actually had, for between takes, they had these sawhorse seats set up for the turtles. The most comfortable position you could get into with all that weight was bending over forward in the seated position. And so they built these turtle chairs that the actors would sit in, put their arms up in front of their head, and they'd sit there while they were either taking the masks off or just waiting for a reset on the location filming bit. After watching this movie, my family adopted the alphabet insult game. Whenever arguments were starting to get too heated between mom and dad or me and one of them, we'd all right, that's it. We gotta, all right, yeah. A. They couldn't use profanity because I couldn't use it, so we had to be really creative.
Atomic mouth, barfaroni, camel breath, dome head, elf lips, gack face, hose brain. The interesting thing with this whole scene is it starts out with April doing a narration and drawing the turtles. At the time, I used to do after-school volunteer work for a daycare. And one of the daycare workers, I forget what her name was, but she actually could draw these turtles just like April's drawing them. And it was amazing.
I think these drawings recently went on eBay, the real ones. I don't remember who bought them or whatnot. You think I'd have some useful information for you listeners. I apologize.
Well, you've had some useful information about the movie to this point, so. I am your man. I am Mr. Fix-It. Lead the way, Toots. Toots.
Well, here's some more information bombs that I have saved up for you. The film had a budget of $13.5 million, which in today's money is about enough money to buy 0.75 Robert Downey Jr.'s. It grossed somewhere between 135 and what did you hear? What did you?
On Wikipedia, I believe the total amount earned back was 201.
Yeah,
something or other.
I bet the 135 figure is domestic and
yeah, the rest
200 is overseas as well.
It's $201,965,915 according to Wikipedia.
And I think we mentioned it before, but it was the highest grossing independent film ever up until the Blair Witch Project dethroned it.
That's very sad. Blair Witch, what a joke.
Look at the emotion on their faces here.
Absolutely.
These are cheesy animatronic things. There's more heart in this scene than there is in the entire Megan Fox Ninja Turtles movie.
Yep. Don't. And then you bring in the comedian.
This movie's so old, Kodak doesn't exist anymore. This was an interesting scene that I didn't interpret as a kid. They're sparring out in the woods with their Michelangelo and some the other turtles. Their masks are turned sideways, so they're fighting blind. They're training to fight blind. really neat scene when you finally figure out why Michelangelo's head looked funny in that scene.
Right. And the funny thing is, this scene, the scene with Donnie and Casey, not this scene now in the warehouse, but the fighting scene, all of that has been not necessarily, I don't want to say parodied, but homaged in the 2012 series. Because in season 3, the beginning of season 3, they go out to the woods. They go to the farmhouse.
I need to see some of those episodes. I haven't been able to watch them yet.
They just at the end of season 2, when they had to leave for the farmhouse, instead of it being Raph like it was in this, they went back to the original and it was Leo that got hurt. And the reason why Leo had to get hurt is because they had to switch the voice actors for Leo from Jason Biggs to Seth Green. And all that other drama. But every time I watch one of these episodes now for the 2012 series, I love when they do the references. It's so great.
That series sounds like it's cutting with using one of Leonardo's katanas to cut the carrots. You don't desecrate a katana like that. I want to see the 2000.
Don't desecrate a carrot like that.
I want to see that series just for the homages. It sounds like it's starting to do so much of that it might as well be the IDW series.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, recently the most recent episode was the Return to New York episode, and in it they basically homage the scene that's going to come later with Splinter and the fire and everything else. The only thing they left out was the marshmallows. Put those away. Turtle wax. Oh, God. Turtle wax. Oh, my God. So hilarious. That image of Splinter just now, it looked like his forehead, the bridge of his nose, his eyebrows, everywhere around his face other than around his eyes, it looked like a separate mask. It looked like a separate part of the costume. The eyes looked like there was something completely different there.
I'd rewind it and look, but that would throw off our sync.
Yes, it would.
After Michelangelo breathing like that, in my imagination, he's got asthma. And he's got to be prepared and be smart about it. Mikey seems like the kind of guy who'd have asthma. And not Donnie, because he's a geek and geeks have inhalers. That's stereotyping. Mikey has asthma.
Yeah. I would love to know how they did this. Just the blue flame. I mean, I know there is such a thing as blue flame and colored flames and stuff like that, but oh my God, is that bright. Oh.
I think there's some serious compositing going on in that. I don't know that flame is actually blue. I think they're doing something goofy with the film and then compositing it back together. But my grandpa used to work maintenance at a Whirlpool corporate headquarters and brought home lots of things that either he repaired there or that was getting thrown away. And one of the things he took home was this gigantic kind of multi-tiered spool of telephone wire. And he lived at a campground. He'd take a handful of this spooled telephone wire, throw it in the fire, and it'd be rainbow colored flames for like 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So if you can get your hands on some antique phone wire, you can have a fun time at a campground.
Yeah.
I talked over the most
emotional part. Yeah. Hey, but I mean, this scene was so powerful because they've really, they don't know where he is. They couldn't search for him. They had to get out, and it just. It's just so great. And they now have their purpose. You know.
And a reason, well, not a reason, a need to go back.
Yep.
I hear the scenes in North Carolina were very difficult to film because at the farmhouse they were near enough to an airport that when the planes flew overhead, it would interfere with the radio signals that controlled the turtles' masks, and plane flies over, the turtles just all of a sudden have face seizures where their mouths are opening and closing and their eyes are blinking. It would probably be pretty terrifying to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least I got the truck working. Oh man, my favorite scene. Another one of my favorite scenes is coming up.
That is a giant manhole cover.
Yeah. They did this view purposefully. The cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shoot.
Who says that?
I don't know. What I'd like to know, what I've always wanted to know for 25 years, how the hell did Danny find the sewer den?
That's a good question.
Anybody, you can email Joe's email address or email mine, TFG1Mike@gmail.com. Let us know, how the hell did Danny Pennington find the sewer den?
Maybe Splinter told him where it is, but that would have been really dumb on Splinter's part.
You'd think. You're claustrophobic. I never looked at another guy before.
April hasn't changed clothes since she was up north.
Nope.
And then he folds it. Oh my god, what are wrong with you, Danny?
Huh?
That's the most technologically savvy Donnie gets, is working on whatever that was.
Oh. Do you like penicillin on your pizza?
Oh!
I just love Mikey's reaction in the beginning. Wah! He runs right over there. Absolutely love it. That's more enclosed than the sewer den.
I think he's regretting his decision.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's raining outside, and he said he was going to sleep in the truck, but I really thought he meant the truck bed. And then he opens the window. If it's still raining out, like, seriously, somebody can just reach in and smack you. Where'd they get pillows? It's the little things I want to know, folks. Where the hell did they get pillows and blankets and
they make the occasional passing remark about it in the old comic, how bad the turtles smell, because they're scrounging everything they own out of the garbage. They live in a sewer. They constantly walk through feces. And some of the side characters have mentioned how you never really get used to it. And, you know, it just kind of breaks my heart. They're not the redneck, but they're the poorest, brokest of the superheroes. They're the most insular. They're the ones concerned just about their family, but they occasionally get dragged into bigger things. They're not really superheroes. They're something different. And I've always kind of liked that, or noticed that about them at least.
And Casey follows Danny back to the joint. The place seems a lot quieter now than it did in the first scene. Maybe because there's no music over this part of the scene here. But the whole arcade area, the whole fun area seems a hell of a lot quieter than what it was before.
And they didn't want to pay the extras for another day.
And I know it was a travesty for him to fold that piece of paper, but it was a travesty for her to even give it to him.
Yeah.
I understand plot-wise, you know, it's how Shredder finds out, but...
Yeah, I just explained to one of my classes today that I don't give away drawings, only because I can't give one to everybody. Oh, here we get some origin story.
Yeah.
I remember something from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing book, how they're talking about deciding what your origin is when you're creating your character. They mentioned Splinter being... Splinter was already an extraordinary rat because he was able to mimic ninjutsu moves from his cage. He wasn't a normal rat to begin with. He was something more already. You know, the turtles were ordinary turtles. They weren't exemplary in any way, and then they were mutated, but...
And plus he trained them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, it wasn't like they got mutated and bing, bam, boom, they're, master martial artists.
This is something where the new movie has an opportunity to kind of retcon something they destroyed with the first one. That they can be reincarnated in that, and it explains why Splinter knows martial arts and why the Turtles picked it up in as many years as they did. It's the only iteration I am aware of where Splinter has his ear sliced, but still to this day, whenever I draw Splinter, I cut off his ear.
Oh.
This version of Splinter does not look like a dog.
No, he does not.
I think that's a testament to Jim Henson's guys.
Absolutely.
Mountain Dew, Pepsi.
Yep.
We should just do commentaries where we point out all the product placement.
Product placement commentaries. That would be awesome.
I just love Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. No self-respecting teenager would use Bing. Unless he's looking for porn.
Wow. Oh my god.
Google for school, Bing for porn. I've only read it, folks. I don't actually know.
You're creating some of the best outtakes ever.
My golly, the blades that I'm making out in the garage are not that long. They are terrifying. Even as stunt blades, those will injure you badly.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't look as menacing without his cape. I mean, don't get me wrong. I, believe in what Edna Mold says about superheroes. No capes!
Mm-hmm.
I get it. But it just... He doesn't
look as big, I think, is one thing.
Yeah. The only time that I find him impressive again is his appearance after they've kicked all the Foot's butt. You know, when they go to fight him.
Mm-hmm.
That's like his drop down Batman like entrance is really the only other time in the movie where I really find him impressive
Mm-hmm.
after his initial introduction.
And I think that initial introduction and that part are where he's supposed to be impressive, I guess, from a design standpoint. When he has to deliver lines in exposition, it maybe makes that a little more challenging. And I think also handedly destroying the turtles in that scene that helps too. Oh, that's really hot steam, guys.
Oh, sweat.
You eating an apple the whole time.
Good. Casey's already seen giant turtles, you know.
He just completely dismisses the rat, shrugs. Oh, well, I can do this.
Yeah. Now, there's something that the novelization does that the movie doesn't, because obviously it's a book, you need to write more, you need to go into more detail.
Mm-hmm.
And they say something after Casey says his line of, Casey Jones, I'm a friend, and they say something along the lines of, you know, that's something that Casey would have never thought he would have ever said about anybody. Because Casey is a loner and whatever else, and I thought that was really... I gotta get that book back so I can read it again. Oh my God.
I'll check out a used bookstore in the area.
Yeah. Well, right?
There's an interview out there with the director, either a commentary that I've heard recently. I'd like to hear it again. I'd like to hear from the director because he's introducing these themes of family, I think before they were in the comic, and I think before the cartoon wasn't doing it. Yeah. And I don't know if the theme was always there or if maybe this is where it started.
Another thing in the book, when Tatsu is hitting him, it gives descriptions of what boxes he's falling into, and they give the description of the fact of, oh, he falls through this box, that's no help. He falls through that box, that's no help. He falls through the sporting equipment box. Oh, in this scene right here, that could help.
Brilliant. Sam Rockwell. My Shinkendo instructor would never be dispatched so easily by a 4-wood.
Well, no.
I know. Oh, it's a 1-wood.
So, like... That's something we need more of. We need more of them on skateboards.
I agree. I built my son his sewer Ninja Turtles fortress to play with his action figures on. I've been told I need to make a skateboard ramp for them. I wonder if those turtles would peg into tech decks.
Oh, I'm not sure.
There's the word.
Yeah. Here and that.
Down there. I'm not used to speechifying. I gotta go take a rat home. Gotta think a lot of those foot soldiers and teenagers must have, well, at least, well, it didn't happen in this cut of the film. But yeah, Tatsu just killed that teenager not 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That's probably fresh in their minds. That might have been an important moment.
So shocked. Derivative.
Eastman and Laird were on set very often, and were both offered cameos in the movie. Laird turned it down because he's kind of a shy guy, doesn't need the recognition. But Eastman is somewhere in the background of this area. He's over there by the dump truck. I think he eventually is seen running away.
Wait for me.
I watched that last scene in slow motion as well. The foot soldier does not hit his head on the rack.
No.
I don't know why. I must have watched this whole film in slow motion for some reason or another.
Well, you want to catch everything.
I just can't believe how fast those guys are moving in 50-pound suits with 3 fingers doing those martial arts moves that they're doing.
I remember as a kid when I first saw this movie, for 2 straight weeks I tried using my index, middle, and thumb for like an hour a day. Just to try to really use... Oh, here he is. I think what makes that so impressive is the fact that when he comes down, he's jumping off a roof, but the way the camera is, it shows him. It doesn't show his knees bending, but it shows the motion of his knees bending, and then he stands. Obviously he stands straight up. I think that's what makes that most impressive. Is just the camera motion of how he is being dropped into the scene. The shredder. Just for making coleslaw. He has a metal bow, whereas Donnie has a wooden one. I don't ever remember seeing metal bows anywhere else.
They'd be too heavy to use for real.
Yeah.
It also has spears on either end, or rather, the bow is tapered to a point.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like, the difference between softball and baseball. Softball, you use aluminum. Baseball, you use wood. April's just now crawling out of the sewer. What? Where'd he go?
Ninja!
Yeah. That has to hurt.
He kicks one of them in the side when they're down, and I just imagine all those blades doing whatever they do.
Oh my god, yeah. Ooh, leftovers.
Let's see if we see Kevin Eastman here.
Oh, it's this scene.
It's somewhere around the garbage truck.
Oh, okay. It might be the final scene when Shredder drops. I think that's where it might be. I wouldn't know what he looks like at this point in his life anyways, so...
80s stash. Leo gets a hit in with his sword.
Do you think it's favoritism that Splinter uses a nunchuck?
Nah, it's convenience.
No, I know, but I just think of that, and I'm like, okay, so Leo has the swords, Raph has the sais, Donnie has the bow, Mikey has the nunchuck. So is it you know? Uh, I think there was a statue of this or something. There's some toy of not a specific action figure toy, but there's something now that takes this scene where he's got. Oh no, that wasn't even Splinter's nunchuck. That was Mikey's.
Yeah,
He grabbed it off.
yep,
Oh,
convenience.
okay.
So it's
Yeah,
what he picked
okay,
up on the way
yeah.
up.
But the scene here where Leo's got his teeth bared, you know, they made a statue or something. One of the
There's
toy
an action
companies did
figure.
something with
It's
it.
one of the movie Star Turtles. He's making that shape.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I never made that conclusion or drew that comparison. That's good. Thank you.
Mato Yoshi.
And they're like, "That's who we've been fighting." Oh shoot! They've heard the story.
How stupid can you get?
I think the only reason we didn't get a serious fight scene here was because Splinter was a strange puppet.
Yeah. Old Shred did a swan dive into the back of a dumpster.
Ah!
Wait,
That's the second one.
Yeah, I know. Whoops.
This is like it didn't hit me as a kid, but here's Casey Jones just casually murdering somebody in a garbage truck
Yep.
without even hesitating.
Yep.
I think it's done from almost a cartoony point of view, but I think that weight doesn't carry the moral weight that should.
No, it should. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, Eastman might be around. Yep, that's him running across the street in the background. Very faint to see. Yeah, he was running from left to right by the garbage truck.
Wait. Does that van say TRL at the bottom of the News 3 van? I swear it says TRL on the bottom right-hand panel of the thing. This was the other thing. The thing with April and Danny and the money.
Uh-huh.
This was explained more in the book, in the movie novelization, and he actually took $23 in the book instead of $20. Dan.
What have you been up to, freak? Let's see how he reacts when there's a giant snapping turtle and a wolf running around down there.
You know, that's one thing about the second movie. No Chief Stearns.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad.
You know, the sad thing is every time I watch this movie, I envision Chief Stearns as being the live-action version of Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons.
That's the biggest cameo Laird got.
That's a nice nod, though.
Good
the
nod.
Easter House on Lairdman Island.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know.
They got their names in the film.
Hi.
Are you sure you wouldn't call him a fiffy?
Oh. No bringing a speech impediment into this. This is not Sylvester.
Speaking of Mike Tyson, have you seen the new cartoon with him
No,
yet?
and I will not.
I really want to.
Now, my question is, why don't the cops just look up during this?
Who's that up?
There's
Hey!
a cop right there
are
walking
people.
by as they... Shiz.
I can't tell what he was saying there. Raph?
Wicked. I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah.
This movie is amazing. One of the syndicated shows here on the GCRN, a podcast called Turtle Flakes with Josh and Rob, they actually got permission from Crime Time to use this as their theme song for the podcast.
Wow. This was not what the director intended. The director, with his love of kind of that old grunge rock, not grunge, but the old rock stuff, wanted more of that Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols type music for it, but studio stepped in and said, no, let's have something a little more commercial. And so this got invented, which actually lists Raphael as the leader, not Leonardo, but that's okay. Kind of. I'll forgive it. Netflix is now telling me that I want to watch the Ninja Turtles Next Mutation.
No,
I don't think I do.
The voices: Josh Pace, Robbie Rist, Brian Toshi, Kevin Clash, David McCharron is Shredder, and oh my god, Michael McConaughey did the...
No, not that Michael McConaughey. I looked into that, and I think it's spelled different, too.
No. You know which one I'm talking about,
yeah,
right?
Tatsu's voice.
Yeah.
Wait, is there a different Matthew? Not
No, not Matthew. Michael McConaughey.
Oh, who is that?
He's the voice of Trax from G1 Transformers.
Wow. Thank you for catching me on that. I was confused for a second.
No, not Matthew.
McConaughey?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah. And the Ninja Turtles would not want him to touch their movie. No, that's the last thing we need is Matthew McConaughey as the Eric Sachs of Shredderdom. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the commentary. We're going to come back with final thoughts and all that good stuff after this. So you can stop your players at this moment now.
Hey, what the? Whoa! And I thought insurance salesmen were pushy. Oh, a fellow checker, eh? Keep practicing.
All right, folks, we are back here inside the Pullbags Comictaries for TMNT 1990. Once again, give out your email address, sir.
If you have a listener feedback, question, answer, or if you'd like us to bring any kind of topic up with the on the Turtles podcast, please email me at Joe Reed the Turtle Guy at gmail.com. Forgive me, I just created it about an hour and a half ago, so I'm still learning it. Joe Reed the Turtle Guy at gmail.com.
You can also send feedback to feedback at geekcastradio.com. We got to do the second one, maybe sometime over the summer or something, because
You're gonna make me do that, aren't you?
Well, it's either that or we could do, the sexual harassment one.
I don't want to have to buy that on Blu-ray, but if we do those two, we'd need to do the 2007 CGI film because I actually like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, by the time we get to the 2014 film, it'll probably be on Netflix, hopefully.
Hopefully it'll be its 25th anniversary and I won't care anymore because
oh god, that's kind of scary when you think about it, folks. Oh man, that is really scary. So, all right, folks, that is the Turtle commentary for the Pull Bag. We've got some other cool stuff coming up here in February for you. I don't know what they are off the top of my head since I'm not looking at the list right now, but I might have an interesting Valentine's Day episode we might do. We might do The Punisher Bloody Valentine. I don't know yet, but I know we've got episode 98 and 99 coming up here in February, and we got a whole bunch of other stuff, so stay tuned for that. Go back and listen to all of the other IDW reviews that Joe and I have done. You can find them on GeekCastRadio.com. This has been a blast, man. Absolute blast.
It's always a good time revisiting this movie. It does not get old. It's created with so much love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to see that theme that I only really discovered reading the IDW books showing up all the way back then. It's like, okay, this is why the Turtles are still around. These ridiculous anthropomorphic animal ninjas. This is why they're still around. It has nothing to do with how weird they are, how silly they are. It's the heart behind everything that gets put into their stories.
Absolutely. And if it took us the next 25 years to get the first Michael Bay produced Turtles movie done, I'd be 59 years old. I'm not waiting that damn long. Make your great escape into comics, folks. We will catch you next time.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, GeekCastRadio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you were leaving the message for and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Geekcast Radio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.